Prabhuji, your cursor should be little low. We are not able to hear.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare.
There is lot of echo. I think you have to laptop or mobile because lot of echo is there, Prabhuji. We are not able to hear you.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jagannatha Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'll just put on this Bluetooth, then maybe better. How is the audio now?
Prabhuji, it is little low. You have to increase it.
Okay. Okay, now it should be all right.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Kindly forgive all this technology. It's very difficult for me. Still I'm managing. Okay, so today we will read about one of the very nice character in Bhagavatam, in Mahabharata, Guru Dronacharya. We'll read from Bhagavatam. Okay? So the verse which I heard from Sadhana Swami Maharaj is canto number 1, chapter number 7, verse number 15. You all can see this?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Yes. So first we will try to recite the verse. Okay. You all can repeat before me. Mata,
Mata,
Shunam,
Shishunam,
Nidhanam, Sutanam,
Nishamaya,
Ghoram, Paritapyamana, Tadarudad, Bashpa, Kalakulakshi,
कलाकुलाक्षी
ताम
शांतव्यन्नाः
किरीटमाली माता शिशूनां निधनं सुतानां निष्मय घोरं परितप्यमाना तदा रुद्रद्वाप कलाकुलाक्षी तां संतप्यन् आह किरीटमाली माता शिशूनां निधनं सुतानां निष्मय घोरं परितप्यमाना तदा रुद्रबाष्पकलाकुलाक्षी तां सान्तव्यनाः किरीटमाली माता शिशूनां निधनं सुतानां निष्मय घोरं परितप्यमाना तदा रुद्रद्वाप कलाकुलाक्षी तां सान्तव्यनाः किरीटमाली
माता शिशूनां नराणां सुतानां निशाम्य घोरं परितप्यमाना रुदाद्वाष्पकलाकुलाक्षी तां सान्तव्यानाः
Anybody of you want to try reciting the verse?
Yes, Prabhu. माता शिशूनां निधानं सुतानां निशाम्य घोरं परितप्यमाना तदा रुदाद्वाष्पकलाकुलाक्षी तां सान्तव्यान् आहा किरीटमाली
शिशूनां निधनं सुतानां निष्मय घोरं परितप्यमाना तदा रुद्रद्वाक्षुकलाकुलाक्षी तां संतप्यनाः किरीटमाली. Thank you, Mahesh Prabhu. Anybody else want to recite?
Let me try. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Wow, clear, na? Audio clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Perfect.
Thank you, Prabhu. Mata Shishunam Nidhanam Sutanam Nishamya Ghoram Paritapamana Tadarudad Vaspa Kalakulakshi Tam Santa Vyam Aha Kiritamali.
Mata Shishunam Nidanam Sutanam Nishmaya Ghoram Paritapyamana Tadarudvapshukala Kulakshi Tam Santapyanaha Kiritamali. Hare Krishna. Any Matajis want to recite?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Mata Shishunam Nidhanam Sutanam Nishamya Ghoram Paritapyamana Tadarudad Vaspa Kalakulakshi Tam Santvayan Aha Kiritamali.
Hare Krishna. We'll read synonyms. Mata, the mother.
Mata, the mother.
Shishunam, of the children.
Shishunam, of the children.
Nidhanam,
Nidhanam,
Master.
Prabhu, you can scroll up.
Sutanam, of the sons. Nishamya, after hearing.
Nishamya, after hearing.
Ghoram, ghastly.
Ghoram,
ghastly.
Paritapyamana, lamenting.
Paritapyamana, lamenting.
Tada, at that time.
Tada, at that time.
Arudat, began to cry.
Arudat began to cry.
Vashkala Akura Akshi, with tears in the eyes.
Vashkala Akula Akshi,
with tears in the eyes.
Tam, her.
Tam,
her.
Santapyan, pacifying.
Santavyan, pacifying.
Aha, said,
Aha.
Aha said,
Kirit Mali Arjuna.
Kirit
Kiritama.
Mali Arjuna.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Draupadi, the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas, after hearing of the massacre of her sons, began to cry in distress with eyes full of tears. Trying to pacify her in her great loss, Arjuna spoke to her thus. So we'll read one more verse, next verse. We'll see what Arjuna speak to Draupadi. Yes, next one. 117:16. Tada shuchaste pramajami bhadre yad brahma bandho shira atatayina gandiva mukte vishikte upahare tava krimita yad sannyasi dagda putra. Tata, at that time only, shuchaha, tears in grief, te, your pramajami shall wipe away, Bhadre, O gentle lady, yet when Brahmabandho of a degraded Brahmana, Shiraha, head, Atatayana of the aggressors, Gandiva Mukte, shot by the bow named Gandiva, Vishiksha, by the arrows, Upahare, shall present to you, Twa, yourself, Akramaya, riding on it, Yat, which, Sannyasi, take your bath, Dagda Putra, after burning the sons. Translation: O gentle lady, when I present you with the head of the Brahmana, after beheading him with arrows from my Gandiva bow, I shall then wipe the tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then, after burning your sons' bodies, you can take your bath standing on his head. Purport by Jivan Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. An enemy who sets fire to the house, administers poison, attacks all of a sudden with deadly weapons, plunders wealth or usurps agriculture fields, or entice one's wife is called an aggressor. Such an aggressor, though he be a Brahmana or a so-called son of a Brahmana, has to be punished in all circumstances. When Arjuna promised to behead the aggressor named Ashwatthama, he knew well that Ashwatthama was a son of a Brahmana, but because the so-called Brahmana acted like a butcher, he was taken as such. And there was no question of sin in killing such a Brahmana's son who proved to be a villain. Hare Krishna. So we will take blessings of our Guru Parampara before we start discussing about this verse. So we will recite the standard prayers. You all can recite along with me. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sadamayam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Vishmanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Budhirahe Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtuki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Namo Pankaj Nabhaya Nama Pankaj Namine Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangrehe, Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namine Gora Toishe Namah. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Gur Brahmane Hitaya Cha, Jagaditaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Pashyata Deshatarine, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. One second, I'll just. Hare Krishna. So this verse is from Mahabharata. Hare Krishna. You all can hear me properly now? Then?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Yes. Hare Krishna. So here we can see so many things which Radha Maharaj could understand, and he explained through his one of his lecture which I heard. So here Maharaj explained that although Dronacharya and Bhishma were very exalted, noble persons and devotees of Lord, under the influence of battle, both of them behave in such a way that is inconceivable to our understanding. So here we can understand that after the battle of Kurukshetra is finished, his Pandavas already they won the battle because of the mercy of Krishna. And now, after winning the battle, these Pandavas went to Hastinapur to inform to king. Who was the king? Dhritarashtra. To King Dhritarashtra about they want to give the message, and everybody was so tired that everybody else is taking rest in the tents on the battlefield itself. In that tents there was a person called Drishtadum, who is the brother of Draupadi, and he was sleeping, and Draupadi's 5 sons were sleeping, and in the dead of the night, this Ashwatthama came. Although the battle was over, and he came and he just killed all of them in a very, very bad way. He just maracas them, killed them, which is totally against the code of conduct of a Kshatriya or even a battlefield. Okay. Now we see that during the battlefield, actually, now we see that Dronacharya, Guru Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama, they were both very, very great devotees of Lord Krishna. But during the battle, they both act not in a proper way. So that is under the influence of the battle. So which is very much difficult for people to understand how come a devotees behave in such a way. Dronacharya was so much hungry for victory, even though he knew well he was on the wrong side, even though he knew well that he had to lose his battle because he was fighting against the will of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, as a warrior, he became so carried away in the battle that with his great power, after he has made commander-in-chief, after Bhishma was put on the bed of arrows and began to fight so furiously that he was destroying the entire army of Pandavas. And although according to the military code, the fighting proceeds after the sun rises and it must end after the sunset. So here Maharaj explained that actually as per the codes of the war, the fighting should not continue after the sunset. And there is one more code that equals should fight among the equals. So the people who are walking, they will fight on the person who are walking. And those who are on a ratha, they will fight the person with the ratha. And people like Guru Dronacharya who are so powerful, they have to fight with the people who are equal to their standard. But practically we see in Mahabharata, Guru Dronacharya become so angry that he was just shooting arrows after arrows and killing the army of Pandavas in wholesale. Like with one arrow, he was killing people, and he's like totally unstoppable. Nobody was able to stop him. And everybody was amazed, but like what happened to Guru Dronacharya is not stopping. He's fighting so furiously, he's killing everybody as if he is going to wipe up the whole army in one single day. after this happens when after Bhishma Pitama was brought down by Arjuna on the bed of the arrows. After that, Guru Dronacharya became the commander-in-chief of the army. And further, Maharaj explained that according to the proper Kshatriya code, which he knew well, being the greatest teacher of the military arts, it is improper to attack a person less qualified than you. Still, he attacked. And after the sunset, the smell of blood. And now we see that Guru Dronacharya, he killed so many people during the day that when the sun is setting, the smell of blood is going around everywhere. And just by smelling that blood, the Kshatriya of Guru Dronacharya becomes so passionate. He becomes so passionate that he started continuing the war even after the sunset, and he started killing people. And people were hungry, people were tired, they can't take rest, and the war will continue. After 6 or 7 days, the war will continue for next until 18 days till it come to a stop, day and night, non-stop. So this we know from the Mahabharata. Not giving any of the soldiers any time to rest or even to drink or eat. And because he was so powerful, he was miraculousing the armies. It came to pass that the only Pandava has a chance of surviving and being victorious. The behalf of Krishna is that they had to stop Dronacharya. Now, this Pandava's army were thinking that if we have to become victorious, if we have to win the war, somehow or other we have to brought down the Dronacharya. But then they were thinking like how to get him down, because they cannot win him because he was too powerful and he got a boon of Lord Shiva that he could not be defeated. So what is the idea? Then Krishna told them that if Dronacharya came to understand that his son Ashwathama is dead, although Ashwathama cannot be killed, he also got a boon from Lord Shiva. But still, if somehow other Dronacharya got convinced that Ashwathama is dead, then he will stop the war and he will retire from the war. But who will tell that? Who will tell that? Because Dronacharya won't believe if somebody go and tell. So there should be only one person, who is Yudhishthira. So here Maharaj explained that this is the power of truth. This is the power of truth, that as a devotee, we have to be very, very truthful in our dealings, among devotees especially, and we have to be very, very pure in our dealings, because Krishna doesn't like people who are duplicitous, outside something, inside something. So that thing Krishna doesn't like. So here Maharaj explained that how people among the devotee communities should behave amongst ourselves. So this we can learn from the example of Yudhishthira, that he never lied in his whole life. And because he never lied, Dronacharya could believe his words without any doubt. Otherwise, Dronacharya won't believe anybody else's words. So this is the power of truthfulness. So then Krishna go and tell Yudhishthira, you go and tell a lie to Dronacharya that your son Ashwathama is dead. But since Yudhishthira Maharaj never spoke a lie in his life, so he was little hesitant. How could I lie now? So then Krishna could understand that Yudhishthira Maharaj is hesitant. He is not ready to lie. So Krishna immediately told Bhimsen, there is one elephant nearby. His elephant name is also Ashwathama. You go and kill that elephant. So Bhimsen just one gada, one shot of gada. He just killed that elephant Ashwathama, and now Krishna told, okay, you go and tell Yudhishthira Maharaj that Ashwathama the elephant got killed. Okay, you speak the truth only. Don't speak the truth. But before that, only some rumors came to the ears of Dronacharya that Ashwathama got killed, Ashwathama got killed. Bhimsen was shouting, Ashwathama got killed, and many other people started shouting. But Dronacharya could not believe all them. Dronacharya told, if Yudhishthira will say, then only I will believe. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj came near to him and he told, Ashwathama, the elephant got killed. But Krishna is mystic. So at the time when he speaks Ashwathama, Krishna blowed his conch shell. So it so happened that Dronacharya could not hear the word elephant. He only heard the word Ashwathama got killed. So Dronacharya, after hearing this word, he got fully convinced that his son Ashwathama got killed. So he thought like, there is nothing to fight now. Why should I continue fight? Better I should retire, because he was basically a Brahmana. So Brahmanas, so suddenly he switched over from Kshatriya behavior to Brahmana behavior. And on his chariot itself, he just sit down and taken a samadhi. And from behind, Drishtadyumna came, who was born to kill Dronacharya. Drishtadyumna, who was brother of Draupadi, he was born through a sacrificial fire by his father Drupada Maharaj, and he was born to kill Dronacharya. So he came from behind, and in front of everybody, he took out his sword and cut the head of the Dronacharya. So even Pandavas were very angry, seeing that this is not a fair means. When Dronacharya already retired from fighting, he's not fighting, he's just sitting in meditation. Why you have come and killed him in such a cowardly way? But then they all understand that it's the will of the province. Drishtyadumna was born for that purpose. The purpose of his birth is to kill Dronacharya, and so he has to do that. So he cannot. There is no way that he will not do that. So Maharaj explained one story that how Drishtyadumna and Draupadi was born. So it so happened when Pandavas and Kauravas, they were small kids, and they were in the kingdom, and Bhishma Dev was ruling on behalf of king, because king Dhritarashtra was blind, so he was not able to rule properly. But still he was king, and Bhishma Pitama was ruling. So Bhishma Pitama wanted that Pandavas and Kauravas to get teach. They should get education, but he could not understand that who will teach them. And here on the other side, one person, Brahmana, called this Brahmana, Dronacharya was there, who was very, very, very poor. Who was very, very poor, and it explained that he was poor to such an extent that his son Ashwathama didn't have proper milk to drink. Can you believe? Like, we can't understand that. How come they don't have milk to drink? But it explained that he don't even have milk to drink. And when Ashwathama was playing with his friends, and when they discuss about milk, so this Ashwathama actually never saw milk. So he came back and asked his parents, "What is that milk? I never saw that." So this parents, Dronacharya, become very much distressed that I'm not able to take care of my son properly. I should get something for him. And Dronacharya, when he was small, when he was in his Gurukul, and his teacher was Parshuram, Lord Parshuram himself teach him. So that time, once he finished his education, that time he got a friend, Drupad Maharaj, Drupada, and they both were friends in the Gurukul. And when they graduate, they finish their education. That time, Drupad Maharaj told Dronacharya, whenever you need something, I promise you, I will help you. Like that, because we are friends. So that time they were friends. And then Drupad Maharaj went to his kingdom. Dronacharya became a Brahmana, poor Brahmana, and he was begging and some other managing. But at this point, when they saw, like Dronacharya and his wife, they saw that his son don't have enough food, proper clothing, proper shelter. So he thought, let me go and take help from my friend Drupad Maharaj, who promised me. So he, along with his family, his wife and his son, they all went to the kingdom of Drupad Maharaj and asked them for help. But this time, the Drupad Maharaj told that, who are you, poor beggar? I will not give you anything. And he just actually made fun of Dronacharya in front of whole assembly and his family. So Dronacharya, although he was a Brahmana, but he still got a Kshatriya spirit inside. And when he came out of that assembly, he thought to take the revenge. So he went to Hastinapur. There, Bhishma Dev was searching for a guru. And these kids, Pandavas and Kauravas, they were playing. And suddenly their ball fell in the well. At that time, Guru Dronacharya reached there. And these kids don't know how to take the ball out of the well. So Dronacharya, he shoot arrows in the ball. And the arrow hit the ball in such a way that one arrow hit behind another arrow, hit behind another, it became a long stick. All arrows behind each other, and they just pull out the arrows, and the ball came out. So when all these kids were amazed, Pandavas and Kauravas, they were amazed. They went back to their kingdom and informed to Bhishma Pitama that they saw one person who is such an expert in shooting arrows that he can shoot one arrow behind another and take the ball out. So Bhishma Pitama immediately understand that person could not be another than Guru Dronacharya. So he immediately came to Guru Dronacharya and requested him to teach the kids, the Pandavas and Kauravas. And Guru Dronacharya accepted that request and he started teaching them. And so the king of Hastinapur actually started taking care of Guru Dronacharya. So he don't have any more poverty right now. And when these Pandavas and Kauravas graduated, when they pass out their education, then that's a time of Guru Dakshina. So in Guru Dakshina, Guru Dronacharya asked them to capture Drupada Maharaj live and bring in front of him so that he can take revenge. So first Kauravas went to attack Drupad Maharaj, but Drupad Maharaj was so strong, he defeated Kauravas like anything, including Duryodhan, and they all came back defeated. And then Guru Dronacharya asked Pandavas, you go, and he tells especially Arjuna, you go and capture Drupad Maharaj live and bring in front of me. And he told other Pandavas to support Arjuna by killing the army. Like that. He already gave the instruction. And these Pandavas went and they fight with Drupad Maharaj, and Arjuna very easily defeated Drupad Maharaj and brought him in front of Guru Dronacharya live. And Dronacharya told, now you are my bandi, I captured. So I just leave you like an animal. So now you go, you are free. Like that he insulted Drupad. So Drupad also Kshatriya, then he was left. So now he has to take a revenge of his insult, but he knows that Dronacharya is very, very strong right now. He cannot kill him. So he started doing a sacrifice in a fire, and he do a sacrifice to ask for a son who could be able to kill Dronacharya. So from that sacrifice came Drishtadyumna. And also Drupad Maharaj was very much impressed by the skills of Arjuna fighting, because Arjuna could able to defeat Drupad Maharaj. So he thought, I should make Arjuna my son-in-law. With that thought, he, in that sacrifice fire, he wanted to ask for a daughter to whom he should be able to marry to Arjuna. And then Draupadi was born out of the same sacrifice fire. So Draupadi and Drishtadyumna, they were both brothers. They both came out of the sacrificial fire, and later Draupadi got married to Arjuna. And in this episode, Drishtadyumna, how he killed Dronacharya. So here, further Maharaj explains that our Krishna. One second. So we were discussing about Yudhishthira Maharaj's honesty. About that, Maharaj explained that always honest, never trying to play games or tricks with other devotees to fulfill their own aims. Then people trust them, and they will trust them in all circumstances because they have proven themselves. So this is very important. One of the Vaishnava qualities, that we should be very much truthful and honest in our dealings. This movement, our Krishna movement, is based not on management. This movement is not based on the principle of getting things done. No doubt, utility is the principle, but ultimately the great utilitarian principle is when our relationships are based on love and trust. So this is one thing which Maharaj emphasized, that it's good to be a management person, but ultimately in Krishna conscious person, we have to understand that Krishna is center and everybody is devotee with whom we are dealing. So it's very important that our relationship should be based on love and trust. So today there is very, very nice auspicious day, appearance day of Shri Vakreshwara Pandit. So in the end, we will discuss about Shri Vakreshwara Pandit a little bit, and we'll understand that how Vaishnava Prad is a very big hurdle. Although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Namo Mahavadanyaya, but still he also don't forgive Vaishnava Prad, and he just takes his mercy out when we start offending the Vaishnavas. So this thing, same thing Maharaj is explaining in this Bhagavatam explanation. Srila Prabhupada said that this movement expands basis on love and trust, and there cannot be trust without honesty. So until we start trusting each other, until we develop a relationship of love and trust among devotees, we are not able to serve the mission of Prabhupada. Ultimately, we will become burden on the mission of Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Goswami has said that one must be straightforward even in one's ordinary activities. Straightforward, you tell it like it is. You don't try to get something out of someone by telling them something else, especially among devotees. And if we behave like the people we trust us, because Yudhishthira had never lied before in his life, everyone knows that whatever he said was true. There was no question. So we have to become very much truthful and straightforward in our dealings among devotees. So, okay, why did you? There is one very favorite question in this episode of Mahabharata that people ask, that because Yudhishthira Maharaj tell a lie in his life, because of that his chariot came down. Actually, it's explained in Mahabharata that Yudhishthira Maharaj's chariot was always above the ground, flying in the air, because he was very much truthful. Because of this pious credit, the chariot never touched the ground. But after this episode of Ashwathama, when Yudhishthira Maharaj told to Dronacharya, Ashwathama got killed, his chariot actually came down. So the outside people interpret it in such a way that because Yudhishthira Maharaj tells the lie in his life, that's why it got came down. But our acharyas in Vaishnava Parampara, they explain that it's not because that Yudhishthira lied, it's because Yudhishthira hesitated to follow the instruction of Krishna. Actually, Krishna is absolute truth, and whatever Krishna says, that is the truth. This is the interpretation of our Vaishnava acharyas. So we must take it as it is, that whatever Krishna says, that is truth. Not that, because Krishna is absolute truth. So when Krishna says you don't tell a lie, then we have to follow that. So this is what our Acharya said. And because Yudhishthira was little hesitant in that, so that's why his chariot actually came down. This is our Acharyas explain. If Krishna says day is night and night is day, then day is night and night is day. But if you say, if you are a liar because you are relative, but Krishna is absolute Param Satyam Dhimai. So Krishna is Param Satyam Dhimai, absolute truth. But when we say something that is not absolute truth, so we have to very much depend on Krishna and the Guru Parampara to know what is the truth and what is not the truth. We meditate on Krishna because he is supreme truth, and truth is whatever emanates from Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna told Yudhishthira to tell this lie, it was requesting Yudhishthira Maharaj to surrender even his own pride in being truthful for the sake of Krishna's service. So now, sometimes we do something good and it will become a pride. So Yudhishthira Maharaj never spoke a lie, but it becomes his pride. So then Krishna want to cut that pride, and Krishna actually play this whole episode of Ashwatthama. So it's all Krishna's plan in Mahabharata. But Yudhishthira Maharaj was hesitant to follow, so his chariot came down. But the Vaishnavas, they have a much higher understanding of the principle of Yudhishthira Maharaj chariot touch the ground because he hesitant to surrender to Krishna. He hesitant in having complete faith that whatever Krishna says is the highest supreme truth. Okay. So now we will know that how Krishna helped the Pandavas. Okay. Dronacharya takes Samadhi. Okay, we done this. Dronacharya and Drupada friendship. We already discussed how they were friends. Drona's revenge. When Drona Drishtyadumna killed. Okay. So further it explained that when Ashwatthama came to the tents of the Pandavas after killing of after this episode of Mahabharata got finished, and he killed Drishtyadumna. The Drishtyadumna was also left over from the war, and he killed. How he killed? He take a rope, and Drishtyadumna was sleeping, and he choked Drishtyadumna with a rope at his neck. And that time he waked Drishtyadumna up so that he could see also that he is going to die now. But Drishtyadumna requested him, I am a Kshatriya. If you want to kill me like a Kshatriya. Kill me, arrow on my chest. Don't kill me with a rope. But Ashwatthama didn't listen and just take the revenge of the death of his father by choking Drishtyadumna to death. So this is how Drishtyadumna got killed. And from the side of Kauravas, even Kritavarma, Kripacharya, and Ashwatthama, these three were left. And from the side of Pandavas, 5 Pandavas, Drishtyadumna, and the sons of Pandavas left. And Ashwatthama actually killed Drishtyadumna, and Ashwatthama killed all the 5 sons of Pandavas. Okay. Why Vaishnavas can cry? It's very important. When Draupadi saw, the mother of the 5 sons saw that her 5 sons got killed, she could not stop her crying and she started crying. So here it explained that one more very nice example came in Bhagavatam, canto number 4, 28-47, where Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that when the mortal body of the spiritual master expires, his disciples should cry exactly as a queen cries when the king leaves his body. So this is very important, that although Krishna says that we are not the body, we are soul, and asochanam nasochastam, why you are lamenting, all these things we already read in Bhagavad-Gita, that why you are lamenting for this body is anyhow going to die. But Prabhupada explained that when a mortal body of spiritual master expires, the disciple should cry exactly. And in many places we heard that we all should cry when our loved one leaves the body. It's not like that we become very hard-hearted. Krishna doesn't like the hard-hearted people. So what is the inner meaning of this? We will read what Maharaj explained. Mahabharata is very much different from Vrindavan, Leela, no doubt. Still, in our Guru Maharaj instruction, we must hear and become purified by all Krishna Leelas. They have a great importance in our life. So then he killed the 5 sons of Draupadi. she has one son from Yudhishthira, one son from Bhima, one son from Arjuna, and one from Sahadeva, one from Nakula. They were all killed when they were sleeping. And they were all very young, just teenager. And when the news reached Draupadi that her 5 children were miraculous in their sleep, she naturally, as a mother, began to cry in distress with yes, full of tears. Now, one may ask how it is and why it is Krishna says in Gita, Asocha nanna sochastvam pragyavadam sabhashate gatasumnya gatasumcha nanub sochati pandita. So Arjuna, you are lamenting for something which is not truth, not worthy. That a wise person lament neither for a living nor for a dead. Na hanyate hanemane sharire. This is not a body. This is soul. So why you are worried? A wise person sees the soul and knows that it cannot be killed by any weapon. So while Draupadi was in such a distress, she was such a great soul. But then again, we can ask why Arjuna was so weeping and so devastating upon the loss of Abhimanyu, his son. So we see that Abhimanyu was killed, Arjuna was lamenting. Now 5 sons of Draupadi were killed, Draupadi was lamenting. And when we see in other Leelas, Narottam Das Thakur, he also laments when he found separation from Srinivas Acharya. And why amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, when Rupa and Sanatana left their bodies, Loknath Goswami and others were so devastated in their hearts. And why it is that in the purport of 4th canto explained, and Prabhupada explained that when a Guru Maharaj, spiritual master, leaves his body, a disciple should exactly cry. So why it is that in Mahaprabhu, and we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Haridas Thakur left his body, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also started crying, and he carried the body of Haridas Thakur in his lap and started dancing. So left experience such incredible emotions of separation from the devotees, because devotees by nature are very soft-hearted. On one level, devotees cry when they see the distress of the others. And also devotees have their own natural relationship, and although they may have complete knowledge that we are not this body, we are the eternal soul, still to be separated from great souls, even though that soul may not be dead. So it's cry because now devotees are feeling the separation. So 2 places devotees cry. One, we see somebody else in distress, par dukha dukhi. So that time we will feel distress, and other time when we feel devotees, we all feel the separation, we all should cry, and actually we should feel the separation. And that separation we can feel then when our relationship is very much genuine with our Guru Maharaj, when our relationship among the devotee community will be very much genuine and a very healthy relationship based on the love and truthfulness as a principle. So the separation from that person is naturally very painful for the heart. In fact, Ramananda Rai had deepest higher conception of Krishna's Madhuri Rasa, the highest understanding of absolute truth. He was speaking to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was practically the only person in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whole life that he discussed openly the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada and Sarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai were practically this only ones. He went into great detail accounts of that. And Lord Chaitanya himself said about Ramananda Rai that he was his guru, that he is the fit person, the only fit person to discuss such topics. But Ramananda Rai himself, in his most elevated state of consciousness during his conversation, when he was asked by Mahaprabhu what is the greatest type of suffering, he said, away from Vaishnavas. He said, being away from Vaishnava is his only suffering. We see in Chaitanya Charitamrita how Ramananda Rai says that. He says that, Dukha madhe kona dukha hai gurutara, Krishna bhakta viraha, vina dukha nahi dekhi para. So Ramananda Rai explained that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks of all kind of distress, but it's the most painful. So Ramananda Rai explains, apart from separation from the devotees of Krishna, I know of no unbearable unhappiness. So this is how we should take that in our life. So many problems will come, but until we came to this level that when we actually get separated from the devotees of Krishna, there is nothing to lament in our life. This is how we understand from Chaitanya Charitamrita through Ramananda Rai. This is not material, and this is also very natural spiritual emotion. So this is also one of the very natural spiritual emotions that devotees at that level will experience. So we should try to not to imitate, but try to develop our relationship among devotee community in such a way that we all should be able to feel that separation. Whenever some loved one in our devotee community left, we all should actually feel the pain of separation. We actually feel, and we actually should pray. And this is very important. We see every day, Lilananda Prabhuji put so much messages on our group that this person left his body, this person left his body, we all should pray. And this is how our devotee community is built. It's based on relationships, not on some type of management which we see outside the world. Srila Prabhupada start with Pralaya. There's very nice story of Srila Prabhupada, then how compassionate Srila Prabhupada was when he was in Mayapur, and from his window he saw that so many devotees have taken prasad and the plates were thrown outside in the garbage, and from that garbage trash some poor children, they were finding some prasad to eat because they were not able to feed themselves. And Srila Prabhupada saw this whole episode from the window of his room, and he became so distressed, he started crying then and there. He immediately called the temple in charge of Mayapur temple that time, and he told him that make sure 10 miles around the temple, nobody goes hungry. And we see how ISKCON leaders are following that instruction of Prabhupada even today through the set of Food for Life program. And whenever you go to ISKCON, we all know everybody is serving, given prasad everywhere. Everybody started feeding prasad. And this is how Srila Prabhupada, a great Acharya, great Vaishnava vision is that people should, this is how he sees other people distressed and become very much lamented for that. So from that day on, started cooking food enough for everybody. Now one may think, why mundane sentiments? So people may think now, why it's such a mundane sentiment? People are getting hungry, feed them. Hunger is a mundane thing. But when a great soul sees the pure soul of others, the part and parcel of Krishna having to suffer so many tribulations of this world, it pains his heart. So this is a vision of a great Vaishnava. When they see somebody else suffering, they can't take it. So par dukha dukhi Vaishnava. If you don't have that pain to see the suffering of others, you cannot preach. You cannot be a preacher unless you can empathize with the pain of others. And the pain that preacher sees are the pain of material conditioning, because the soul of others is under the misconception that they are material body, and due to that misidentification and illusion, they engage in so many ignorant activities which create such karmic conditions which culminate in suffering in birth and death. So it's like cycle. We see somebody suffering. Why is suffering? Because of his karmic reaction. Why he got karmic reaction? Because he got birth. Why he got birth? Because he did not follow the instruction of Krishna. Why he didn't follow Krishna? Because he is not a devotee. So ultimately he is not doing devotional service. That's why he is taking birth. And when he takes birth, he has gone into karmic cycle. Because of karmic cycle, he is getting so much suffering. So this is how the vision of Vaishnava is there, that they want everybody to take out of the karmic cycle and they don't want people to suffer. So with this broader principle in view, devotees started serving the society. And we always receive instruction from our senior devotees that whenever we see beggar, we should feed them not with the money but with the prasad. So by taking prasad, two purposes solved. Their body will get nourished and their soul will also get nourished. So this is a broader picture. The devotees always help in such a way that their connection to Krishna becomes stronger and stronger, so that they also could go back to Godhead and ultimately put end to all their sufferings. This is not just sentimental, this is a compassion. Vaishnavas have such soft hearts, but it is not that simple on a sentimental basis. It is with knowledge. We are crying, but this soul does not come to Krishna. Why does not this soul comes out of this suffering condition? And it is this type of weeping for the suffering of others that it's still the empowerment by which we can preach Krishna consciousness. So when we see people suffering, then only we can preach others. Because until we don't see people suffering, how can we preach? So this preaching concept is not there in Goloka Vrindavan, because there everybody is devotee, so everybody is engaged in suffering. But preaching concept is there in this material world, because people are rebellious of Krishna and they need to be dovetail their consciousness towards Krishna. So that's why this preaching service is here, so that in Golok Vrindavan we don't see people suffering, so there is no preaching. Everybody is servant of Krishna. Everybody is happy in serving Krishna. But here people are rebellious of Krishna, and when our devotee sees that condition, that people are suffering because of being rebellious of Krishna, they become compassionate and they ultimately try to somehow or other bring people back to Krishna. So this is how wonderfully Srila Prabhupada make this ISKCON movement, started ISKCON movement there. If one sincerely follow the routine of ISKCON movement, attend Mangal Aarti, go for preaching, go for food distribution, chanting, kirtan, listening Bhagavatam, preaching to others. So all the aspects of bhakti are taken care, which we recently read in Nectar of Devotion, the 61 aspects of bhakti. Everything is taken care if one just sincerely follow the instructions, the routine given by Prabhupada. Grahe Thakur, Vane Thakur, Sada Hari Bhare Thakur. So it's not important that we people, most of us, we are grastas, we are not able to stay in temple 24/7. That's okay. Even in our house Prabhupada has made us temple. So we can just follow our daily routine, but people follow in temple. Wake up early morning, get up and do Mangalarti for Lord, and we can do our japa, we can read Srimad Bhagavatam, we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. So this, and then we go to office, and evening we came back. In office, we try to help others by giving them prasad, giving them some Krishna, and we do our routine job. And evening we came back, we do some bhajan kirtan, discuss something, we attend Bhakti Shastri classes or something like that. So since it's a sandwich program, morning, evening, full packed with Krishna consciousness, in between the day, we can do our normal activities to maintain our families. And if we sincerely follow this instruction under the guidance and we sincerely report back, then it's very, very easy for us to go back to Godhead and go back to Krishna just by following these instructions sincerely. But the only condition is that we have to do all these things under a guidance. Whimsically, of my own, I may try to do it, I may be able to do it, but I will not be able to continue for long, and there's no correction. If we are not taking guidance, there's no correction if we are doing something wrong. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, who is Adi Guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself, they both teaches, and Haridas Thakur, he teaches, they all teaches through their own example. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the episode Jagai Madai, we can understand. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the instruction to Nityananda and Haridas Thakur that every day you go and ask people to chant the name of Krishna. Then Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, they both go out in the town and they go to each and every house. They knock the door and the people open the door. They told that this is my humble request by putting my hands. Please chant the name of Krishna. Please chant the name of Krishna. Krishna Bhajo, Krishna Bhajo. Like that they were telling, and people heart were getting melted just by seeing the humility of Nityananda Prabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. They both were together going. And in the evening, it's very important, this point, that in the evening they come back and report the activities which they do during the day to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this reporting incident is very, very important, and which I see that it is there in our movement, but it's not, many people are not sincerely following. They are doing so much activities, they are doing so much wonderful activity services, but they are not able to report to their superior authorities on a regular basis. So this thing, if we just add to our activities, then it will become a complete cycle. And when the episode of Jagai Madai happened, same next day when they met Jagai Madai put break one water pot and hit Nityananda Prabhu head. Immediately report was given to Chaitanya Prabhu. Chaitanya Prabhu himself came, and this whole episode we know how Jagai Madai was given the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the main thing is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercy will come, but this we have to follow the instruction of our senior authorities and try to follow, and sincerely we should report back. So this is very important. And further we'll continue our episode from Mahabharata. Okay. So when we see such great souls in this condition, it's actually a decoration which makes their devotional service beautiful. So Draupadi naturally was weeping because her children were dead. She was feeling separation from the souls of those children. And Arjuna, he was also one of his own, he also lost one of his own child, one child, a son, and 4 nephews were killed. He was also very much affected, but he had a different way of dealing with it than Draupadi. Draupadi was a mother simply, but Arjuna as a warrior, as a Kshatriya, his response with justice must be served. You live by the sword and you die by the sword. So Arjuna was a Kshatriya. Kshatriya spirit told that we should take revenge and kill Ashwatthama immediately. So Prabhupada, what Prabhupada is explaining is that purport that it was perfect. It is a duty of a Kshatriya to make sure that justice is served. It is necessary of society that such Kshatriyas are living in Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna is trying to pacify Draupadi, his wife, and Draupadi in his state where her heart utterly broken at the loss of 5 children, and the wonderful story that follows will be continued. So this is how we see that how different Vaishnavas deal with a different way the same thing. So now sons were killed for Draupadi, sons were killed for Arjuna. Draupadi just simply wept. Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, he started taking revenge. So Prabhupada explained that in our society we need all the Chaturvarnya, all the Varnas, all the Ashramas, and people should deal according to their own Vaishnava behavior. So it's not like that we should copycat others. We should see our nature and try to deal with the same situation our own nature way. And ultimately, once they are devotee, all these activities will count in devotion activities. So this is what from the Bhagavatam. Today is one very auspicious day of Sri Vakreshwar Pandit. So I thought let's discuss something. So it is told in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Vakreshwar Pandit was present with Srimad Mahaprabhu during his pastime in Navdipa, and after his acceptance of sannyas, he was accompanied him to Jagannath Puri. So Vakreshwar Pandit was both time during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navdipa and in Jagannath Puri. Both time he was present with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. During the time of Lord residence in Puri, he continued to live him there as well. Sri Vakreshwar took birth in the village called Gupti Para near Triveni. He was an specially profited dancer and a kirtanya, and he could dance continuously for 72 hours. So he was a very expert dancer in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, and he could dance non-stop for 72 hours. So this is a standard. We can understand from Chaitanya Leela. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began his pastimes of congregational chanting of the holy name of Sri Hari in Navdeep, Sri Vakreshwar Pandit was an important singer and dancer in that assembly. It was by his mercy that Devanand Pandit was delivered from the wrath of Mahaprabhu. So this is very one important episode, that how devotees help other devotees, even they commit some aparadh, so devotees can help them to come them out from that aparadh. So this is how we should learn from the lesson. We'll read now further. He was also present during the Lord's journey to Ramakeli. Devanand Pandit was at one time known as the foremost lecturer of Bhagavad. So there's one person, devotee, called Devanand Pandit. He was very expert in giving lectures on Bhagavatam. One day, Srivas Pandit, we know all Srivas Pandit, who was companion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Srivas Angan, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu go and dance in that. He is Narad Muni himself. One day, Srivas Pandit went to hear his discourse and began moved in the ecstatic love by hearing the Bhagavatam. So Srivas Pandit, great devotee of Lord, when he heard Bhagavatam, he started crying and started to moving here and there in ecstatic love. So he was in so much love. And he began to cry. A few of the ignorant students of Devanand, but Devanand Pandit assembly got some people who are not that exalted devotees. They were also listening Bhagavatam, and they thought that why he is creating so much disturbance in the lecture of Bhagavatam. And they told Srivas Pandit to leave the assembly. And Srivas Pandit actually left the assembly. And Devanand Pandit, who was giving the classes, doing the discourse, he did not resist. He did not stop his students from offending this Srivas Thakur. So there are two types of Bhagavad. Prabhupada explained that there are two types of Bhagavad. One is book Bhagavad, one is person Bhagavad. So great devotees are person Bhagavad. So we should respect them as we respect the book Bhagavad. So for this reason, Devanand Pandit became implicit an offender of a great devotee. So now, although Devanand Pandit directly didn't did any offense towards Srivas Thakur, but by not opposing, so he was a teacher in charge of the class, and there's somebody who offended in that assembly, and he did not oppose that. So he automatically became an offender. So this is how the system works. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to hear about his devotee Srivas Pandit, he had been disrespected. He gave many instructions concerning the Bhagavad. He told that those who read the book Bhagavad but don't offer respect to the devotees Bhagavad are simply offenders. So this is very important principle. We learned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that we have to respect book Bhagavad, and same way we have to respect the devotee Bhagavad. Although some devotees, we may not understand their way, their style of dealing, their way of living, but still, if somebody is devotee, he is chanting 16 rounds, he is following 4 every principle, he is connected to parampara, no way we should ever try to offend. So this is like Hathi Mata. Hathi Mata, Prabhupada explained that elephant go and take bath in the river and again came out and just throw the dirt on all of his body. So this devotion thing doesn't going to work for us if we keep on offending the devotees. So this is very, very important. This is very, very big caution. We all should understand from this episode. But now we see how to get out of this. They are simply okay. Further, the devotee Bhagavad and book Bhagavad are non-different. In order to understand the book Bhagavad, one must sincerely serve the devotee Bhagavad. So just this is the way. Vaishnavare charan dhuli sei hame pad. So we have to always try to serve sincerely. It's given in all the songs by great Vaishnavas. Everybody said that We all should serve the lotus feet of Vaishnavas, so that by their own mercy only we can understand this book Bhagavad. Otherwise, we can't understand. Shri Krishna in the first canto, first chapter, first verse, it's explained that Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kave Muyanti Yat Surya. So we can understand this knowledge is already there in our heart, because we being part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is Sachit Anand Vigraha, so as we. So the knowledge, whole knowledge of this Bhagavatam, everything, it's there already in the heart. It just need to get awakened. How it will get awakened? By the mercy of great Bhagavatas, by the mercy of great Vaishnavas. So it's very important that we should all serve the Vaishnavas and we should never try to offend the Vaishnavas. Therefore, Mahaprabhu neglected Devananda. Now you see, because Devananda become offender, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namo Mahavadanya, we say he's the most merciful incarnation for Kali Yuga, he will forgive everything. But it's explained here that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu neglected Devananda and did not bestow his mercy on him. Now we see what happened further. One evening, Vakreshwara Pandit came to perform dancing and chanting of the holy names at the house of one devotee from Kulia across the bank of Ganges from Nadia. Receiving this auspicious news, Devananda proceeded there, and upon seeing the appearance of the symptom of divine love in the person in Vakreshwara. So Vakreshwara Pandit, the person whose appearance day is today, who was there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastime in Mayapur, also in Jagannath Puri. One time he came there and he started dancing. We know that he can dance non-stop for 72 hours. So what happened? This Devanand Pandit came to know that, oh, Vakreshwara Pandit came. Gradually a crowd gathered at that place. And when he was dancing, crowd started gathering at that place. And Devanand Pandit taking a cane in his hand, kept the crowd in order so as not to obstruct the ecstatic dancing of Sri Vakreshwara Pandit. So in this way, we see that Devanand Pandit, who did offense against Srivas Thakur, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that he will not give his mercy to Devanand Pandit, but he did not. He started serving Vakreshwara Pandit. How he started serving Vakreshwara Pandit? He just took a stick and he just managed the crowd around Vakreshwara Pandit so that crowd will not create disturbance for Vakreshwara. So it's a menial service. But we see in this way, Vakreshwara Pandit performed chanting and dancing for 2 paharas. 2 pahar means 6 hours. On into the night. When he finished dancing and sat down, Devananda came and offered Dandavat at the lotus feet of Sri Vakreshwara Pandit, who became pleased with his service and blessed Devananda with the words, Krishna Bhakti Ho. So this is how Devananda Pandit was blessed by Vakreshwara Pandit, that, oh, you serve me, you help me, and you help me so that I could do my service properly. So it's very important that we may not be very much strong to do big services. It's not a problem. We are not here to do big projects. It's okay. But we can only serve the people, serve the devotees who are doing services. Just by serving them, we will get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can see from this episode. It's not required. So it's not important to be a very much big person. So anybody can serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who have qualification, yes, they should serve in such a big way. But those who aren't, because of some reason, they can just assist those who are serving. That is also considered equal in the eyes of Lord. So just by the blessing of Vakreshwara Pandit, Devanand Pandit received the blessing of Vakreshwara Pandit. May you attend devotion to Lord Shri Krishna. From that day onwards, devotion was awakened in the heart of Devanand by the mercy of Vakreshwara Pandit. Thereafter, when Mahaprabhu came to Nadia to have darshan of his mother and Mother Ganges, he bestowed his mercy on Devananda at Kulia. So Krishna knows everything. We should understand. Krishna knows what we are doing. Krishna knows what we are. Krishna knows how we are cheating ourselves, how we are cheating devotees, how we are duplicate in our behavior. Krishna knows everything. So it's very, very important, dear devotees, dear Prabhuji and Mataji, that now our satsang is growing. So many responsibilities are coming. So many services are coming. We all are engaged. But it's very important that great power comes with great responsibilities. So we may grow slow, we may not grow at all, that's not a problem, but at least we should not fall down back now. So the only way we can fall down back is by doing offenses to Vaishnavas. So we should understand, what about Vaishnava? Even to ordinary person, we should not offend. So that's very important. We should be very, very clear in our dealings. We should be very, very complete. These things we learned from the example of Yudhishthira Maharaj, And same thing we see in Chaitanya Leela from the example of Vakreshwar Pandit and Devananda Prabhu. So because you have served Vakreshwara, I have noticed you. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have noticed you. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not present personally, but Krishna notices everything. Vakreshwara is fully imbued with the Lord's transcendental energy. And whoever becomes devotee to him attains to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. His heart is the personal abode of Sri Krishna. And as Sri Krishna dances, so Vakreshwara also dances. Whenever one gets the association of Vakreshwara, that place is the sum total of the holy place and in the sun good as Sri Vaikuntha. So today, further, it's explained that Vakreshwara Pandit disciple was Gopal Guru Goswami and Gopal Guru Goswami disciple was Sri Dhyanand Chandra Goswami. In this Dhyan Chandra Pandit, Dhyan Chandra Goswami has written that person who was previously very expert in the art of singing and dancing the Gopi, Tung Vidya. So it explained our child that this Vakreshwara Pandit is Tung Vidya in the eternal pastimes of Sri Krishna, and he has appeared on today's date, that the dark fortnight of the month of Ashar, and he closes his pastime in this bird on 6th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Ashar. So while Vakreshwara Pandit danced, Mahaprabhu himself would sing, and Vakreshwara would catch hold of his lotus feet, saying, "Oh moon face, give me 10,000 Gandharvas and let them sing with while I dance. Then I will be happy." Mahaprabhu answered, "You are one of my wings. I had another like you. I could fly in the sky." So Mahaprabhu considered Vakreshwara Pandit as one of his wings. So this is how the intimate relationship between Lord and his devotees we can see from Chaitanya Leela. But that is very high. I could not go in detail. But what I understand, but I will explain that the example of Vakreshwara Pandit and Devanand Pandit, that we should never offend devotees. We should be very, very clear in our dealings with devotees. Same thing we learn from the example of Yudhishthira Maharaj, but which we read in Bhagavatam today. And if you have any questions, any comments, any corrections, or anything else, please feel free, Prabhuji and Mataji, because that's all I can explain today. Please forgive me for all my shortcomings, which I could not explain you, or anything which I am not able to properly justify. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. 3 loud Haribol for His Grace Lovesh Prabhuji for a wonderful class and so much of nectar.
Haribol, Haribol.
And today he nicely explained us the pastime from Mahabharata, how Dronacharya was brought down from the fighting and how furiously he was fighting and how he was defeated. Then he also talked about Yudhishthir Maharaj being truthful and how we as a devotee should be truthful in our life. And then he also talked about when a Vaishnava should cry. I never knew a Vaishnava. There is also a protocol when a Vaishnava should cry. So he very nicely explained us in which situation it's okay to cry or show our emotions. We are not hard-hearted or stone-hearted. We also have emotions, and we are paradukka dukhi. That is one point where we can cry for others, or a Vaishnava can cry. Second point, he told when there is a separation of a Vaishnava, at that time we cry. Then he very nicely explained the Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela, how Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu were requesting everyone to chant, and they were preaching, following instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so sincerely, and we also should follow instructions of our senior Vaishnavas wholeheartedly. And then very nicely he explained us who is Vakreshwar Pandit, his Tunga Vidya, and how nicely he danced and sang in Chaitanya Leela, assisting Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri as well as in Navadvip. Then he also explained us how what is book Bhagavat and what is devotee Bhagavat, and how Devanand Pandit, he offended a Vaishnava and then he was delivered just by serving Vakreshwar Pandit. So we should never offend a Vaishnava, and we should always be inspired to serve Vaishnavas. So with that, I'd like to thank wholeheartedly His Grace Lovesh Prabhuji for all the instructions he has shared us. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. We are very much inspired by your class, and we all pray for the spiritual progress of you and your family. Now the floor is open for question and answers. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tandat Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one small question, Prabhuji. The pain, whatever the pain what Draupadi has gone through when her kids were slaughtered, I mean, is there any reference in Shastras wherein, you know, the similar pain, motherly pain someone has gone through in past, any Ityasas or Puranas, Prabhu?
Similar type of pain. Actually, I don't know.
I'm sorry, Prabhu. I don't know if my question is relevant or not. I was just thinking if any such cases are there, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, one thing I can remember is of wife of Sandipini Muni. Maybe that could be an example.
No, Prabhu. That was actually natural death, right, Prabhu? It's not someone slaughtered their son, right?
Mm-hmm.
He in the water he succumbed to death. I believe that. I think that's what I know, Prabhu. Sandipani Muni's kid. So that's okay, Prabhu. I was just thinking if any of that kind is there or not. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Ayyar Prabhu.
Sorry, my issue.
No problem, Prabhu.
So if you are specifically talking about killing, Prabhuji, then maybe Chitraketu Maharaj, he went to a pain of killing of his son and later on became Vitrasura.
Yes, Prabhu. That is a fatherly pain, but I was more looking at motherly. Because mother's pain, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I feel mother's pain is more when compared to father's pain.
Your love for us is like your mother love for us. That's why we all are surviving in satsang.
Yes, Prabhu.
By your mother's love.
Yeah. Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry for an irrelevant question, Prabhu.
No, Prabhu. Your question is very nice, but I am not qualified. I don't know. I don't know scriptures completely. That's why. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Lovesh Prabhuji. It was a very nice. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. It was very nice. And this particular episode is very touching to me, Prabhuji. Maybe going by the previous comment, it's very touching to all the mothers, especially, I would think. And in one of the lectures, even the lie that Ashwatthama Hatha Kunjara, right? So even in the lie, in one of the lectures that I had heard in Kannada, the Pravachankar, the Prabhuji was saying that any truth that is not going to bring any goodness, any universal goodness, nor is it going to cause any betterment or benefit to the person who is receiving it. It is less of value compared to a lie that is actually going to bring about a universal goodness. That's how he was saying. He was actually defending why Krishna had to do that, as you said, Drona.
Sorry, Mataji. Can you repeat that statement once again, Mataji? I'm sorry.
So truth that does not bring about universal good is of less value, Prabhuji. That's how he was saying.
Yes.
Even a lie, even in this lie, it was going to cause betterment to the world, and it was actually preventing Guru Dronacharya from committing a huge offense. He has already committed a lot of offense, and it is going to pile up on top of each other, and he is going to be sitting on a huge unsurmountable sins if he goes on such a killing spree, violating all the principles. So even though it was a lie to the outset, it is of more value compared to a truth that is not going to make anybody any better. It is not going to bring any universal goodness. That's how he was saying, Prabhuji. So even the generally accepted good things, good qualities like truth cannot be accepted on the face value, was the lesson that we can learn from this episode, was what he was saying, which I feel very true, Prabhuji, because even in day-to-day activities, maybe there is some blatant truth we can talk, but then if it is just going to hurt the other person, or if it is not going to bring about any general goodness, it is actually okay to sort of not speak it. That's what I personally took away from this story, especially of killing Dronacharya.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, in this lecture now, when somebody asks one very nice question, sometimes we wonder what if they may not be able to take it rightly when we speak truth. Like it was most emphasized on speaking truth now, but sometimes we speak truth, but opposite person is not able to take it rightly.
Yes.
So let me wait for some time and tell them at an appropriate time. So this is a question. So Radhanath Maharaj answered very nicely. What he said that is not being untruthful, that is being sensitive. So you should not. So sensitivity is more priority here.
Perfect.
Not on truth. We should be sensitive, but we should not outward lie to people and tell them one thing when something else is there. Unless under extreme circumstances, you do that really for that person's benefit. So truth is okay, lie is okay, but ultimately it should be for other person's benefit. And ultimate benefit, we know that person should come closer to Krishna.
True.
True. But you should be very much. So, but Maharaj giving one caution here: you should be very much experienced, advanced devotee before thinking that you have that authority. But if we are really doing it exclusively for that person's benefit, then it is acceptable. So ultimately, Krishna sees the heart, with what purpose we are doing. That is thing.
Perfect, bro.
But if we are, I'm just reading what Maharaj is answering. But if we are doing it just to get something done for your own benefit, then it will create something very negative in the future. From one point of view, you simply won't have any friends. You simply won't have friends because unless somebody can trust you, can't really be their friends, it is not very deep. Friendship is based on trust. And for your own survival in Krishna consciousness, you need to have intimate friendship with Vaishnavas. Otherwise, you will not survive in Krishna consciousness. So this is for our own survival. We have to be very pure. Not for anybody else. That's what Maharaj answered nicely.
Perfect, Prabhuji. Perfect.
Yeah, because ultimately we don't have very deep relationship, very deep friendship among devotee communities. We can't survive for long in devotion because artificially we can't do. And we need constant companion in devotional service. For that, we need good friends. So for friendship will come when a relationship will be based on love and trust. Otherwise, there is no relationship. There is just only external. So that's what Maharaj explained nicely. So that's why we have to be very sensitive in our dealing and be very truthful.
True, Prabhuji. True.
Thank you, Mataji.
Great class, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just repeated, Mataji. Nothing, my credit, zero.
But really, Prabhu, this particular pastime has so many lessons to learn actually. And whatever Suma Mataji mentioned, I mean, materially, if we think that's a really a very brave statement and very harsh truth also, that telling a truth which might not cause a good is not that valuable as telling a lies causing a more valuable outcome to society overall. That's a very brave and very harsh truth also, but people might take it very negatively, especially in the material sense. I mean, there might be so many in Telugu also. We say, I mean, veyi abaddalu adina oka pelli cheyi, means you can tell 1,000 lies to do a marriage. I mean, like that, there are so many sayings in materially, which might not be very apt, and we can always quote. Yudhishthira himself has told her lie. So there is nothing wrong to do this thing. And they can convince themselves by quoting Shastras also.
Yes, Prabhuji, but my personal experience, Prabhuji, if we are very truthful and genuine in our dealing, even outside devotion community, like in our offices and societies, then people might not give us the benefit. Like we may not get the best of the benefit what other people are looking for, like promotions or something else. But ultimately, people will start trusting you and will start opening their heart in front of you. That
Yes,
is what
right,
I
Prabhu.
personally experienced. So you may
Right.
not get the best of the thing which other people aspire for. Like when you're in office, you are very truthful and very genuine in your dealing. So you may not get all that promotions and other things, but people will start trusting you nicely
Right,
and
Prabhu. Right.
opening your heart. So and they start respecting you for that. So that's what we will earn.
True, Prabhu. Yeah, you are right, Prabhu. Yeah.
So we can practice this thing in our mundane dealing also. No problem, Prabhu. It's not a much problem.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
the environment is like that. Everybody is accustomed to speak lie without any reason.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
So this is the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are learning. I am learning actually. Thank you. Please bless me.
Thank you very much for the session, Prabhu. Really like the session when intervening two things in a session. I'm hearing it for the first time. Like the pastime of when Draupadi lamenting and Yudhishthira lying. This is something. This version of Radha falling down after he lies. I'm hearing it for the first time, Prabhu. Probably it might have been told in multiple forums, but I am hearing it for the first time, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Maestro. Thank you, Malingam Prabhu. Thank you, all the devotees, Kiraj Prabhuji, Lilananda Prabhuji, all the Vaishnavas. Please bless me. Thank you very much. Let's close now. Hare Krishna. Hey, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Maharaj.
Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.